Let's make it simple. Let's get the paintbrush out of the pot, right? So we won't put the paintbrush inside 2 and 4. But if I put it right in, I put it right into 3. But it's, thank God it's held in by something, 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, and 5. The left side, the right side, and the center. 1 is not 1 because you have the center used. You now have 1 to here is 1, 1 to here is 2, 1 back is 3. You now have a total of 3 and 4 steps. From here to here is 1, from here to here is 2, from here to here is 3. But you stand 2 feet and you walk 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you stand 2 and you walk 2 is 4. And you move 2 and you stand 2 is 8. And you move 2 and you stand 2 is 12. And you move 2 and you stand 2 is 16. You don't get from here to here. This is the in-between. You take the boat. You go halfway to halfway to halfway to halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you go any further? Are you turning? Are you going straight? When we make the design of the corner of a building or the corner of a twin tower, it also shows the corner of many other things, including the corner to this. This corner will show 3 different areas, 1 below, 1 to the side. Imagine if each one owned the world, because this was the center 9. It was the center 9 of 1, 2, 3. It was the center 9 of 1, 2, 3. It was the center 9 of 1, 2, 3. 0 here, 0 here, 0 here. That's the first way. This is also a kilt or a skirt. In order to hold the oceans, if everything is about 1, 2, 1, 2 creates 3. 1 and 2 creates the balance between 1 that separates the balance between the 2 sides that make the equality. Slanting the oceans, flooding the lands, melting ice till Lake Mead has overspilled. Lake Mead is starting to overspill. They need the overspill from the oceans to run like the rapids into Lake Mead, down the Colorado River one more time, just so they can put their time in schedule. The oceans, the rivers, things that were made to create the oceans to move is when they move the oceans. Constantly, they're moving the oceans. And don't forget, a slight tilt from one side to the other side, and you empty the cup. It starts like this. How much more can I spill? How much more can I spill before I take the average like this? This is the top side of the cup. When I average it out, I'm spilt over already. I'm spilt over. This is my angle to spill over. What angle is that? That angle should be 67.5, 132.5, 122.5. 122 times 3 in the 0.5 area going around is the Mercedes sign. You get 366 days going around 1 point. More than 1 point to the matter is that with this as an effect, we have to understand that it's a duplicate world out there. And now this one up here and this one down here now create 1, 2, 3, 4 separate worlds in which they go ahead. Oh, excuse me. In which where they go ahead and connect and connect and connect and connect, and then they come here as the tent and they circle this one here, they circle this one here, and they circle this one here. When you make these circles, if you really want to see what it looks like the captain's jacket. It has the buttons that run to here for this side, the buttons that run for here for this side. They both overlap, and this is what they do. They create this eye. This totality becomes only one circle in our life, but I'm showing how the skeleton looks. You don't see my bones, do you? Do you see the R? How about the other R? How about R and R? R is not R, it's 7 and D. It's what has to happen to B. When R goes up and R goes down, you got the R goes 70 and 70, or 74 and 74. 140 and 140 is 280, 74 and 74 is 148, and 148 is 296, excuse me, 70 and 70, 76 and 76. 74 and 74, 76 and 76 is 304. Halloween. You like my mask? 70 equals 76. 70 equals 76. 152. have the two sides because now your head is pieced to two sides, two red eyes. You now set L to the corner of her world, L to the corner of this world. You went through two mountains to one sun, and now you have to understand the way letters are built. This is built like this, the way the Greeks do it. Then you put the casing on top of it. In putting on the casing and the actual dimensions that they are, this is the result. The same result goes for the K. You can have this K, which is 3 by 6 by 3. Why? Because the furthest you can go out is to the number above 2, the number you are 5, and the number below 8. It's the same thing everywhere. 5 goes everywhere. How it does it is to be understood. This angle of K, this angle of K, this angle of K, this size of K, the KKKs, we can put them together. And back to back, they do create the star. The I comes up to the 3 casing, and the I and the 3 come together to create the B letter, in which inside, this is the reason I know, because this is how it's finished. I just took the different languages to the way we do things in the special writing that I've learned, because I'm learning to write Nibiru. Because inside Nibiru, the I and B already create just one letter. They just create the B. The I goes away. So it's NB. 14 and 2 is 16, bringing the light. Biru, B-I-B, okay, actually shows that the I is a connecting letter. We can leave it the way it is or turn the word around, and instead of going N-I-B-I-R-U, you go U-R-B-R-I. You go, instead of Nibiru, just do it backwards, but just remove both I's. Okay, you remove both I's, put N with U together because U is 21. And 12 and 21 have to count all the time because 12 and 21 is in everything and makes everything. So no matter what you do, you can't get rid of 2 and 1. It's everywhere. The only time you put 1 together with 9 is when it becomes I. The only reason I is what it is because of these lines, these 90 angle degree lines. 90 and 90 is 180. You split together, the difference here is 45 and 45 equals to the 90 separation between the two. Is to understand the reason for the I and the reason for the H is the division of the two sides, in which this I is only the skin, there's only the bones. It has no skin on it. So you have to create the skin to enlarge it. And when it is the D or the H, so this is one side of the H, this would be the other side of the H. You see the way it goes in? Well, this is the way it hands up. Either you're separated this way in the world or you're stuck to somebody on top of you. The way 7 works. The slant of 7 over here, which is 3 by 3 down. In one area, 3 across by 3 this way, 1 to 2 to 3. No, go 1 to the center to 2, and then go all the way down to the bottom. The 7 ends actually in between the 7 and the 8. But in reality, if we needed to really do it properly, all we're working is with 45 and 90 degrees. Everything else has been implemented after the fact. Just to notify, R, B, E, F all have flatbacks. They all represent part of the E family. The E and I family is because when life comes from the other side, they run a line through the I, creating E and E, joining one world with the next world. And that's why we get the slant in the F and the extra piece, just so it's coming from the center world. Center letter, split letter. So all the letters in the alphabet tell us different designs within. Casings, insides letter from different languages. If you want to talk about the clover, let's talk about the clover. Here is the inside. Here, I'm going to try and show you if we can see it real close. Okay. This way, here, this mark, and a line down here will create this design. It's the Mercedes sign. There are 2 of them here. In creating this Mercedes sign, it obligates me to run 2 90-degree angles and then the flowers. Skip halfway in between, halfway in between, halfway in between. So every flower is divided by 1. It's 2 petals, but there's a lining in the middle, making it the Jack and Jack, connecting to the outside of its flowers. The bottom flower, the hourglass, gets removed. Why? Because if you take a close look, it goes from this half of the flower over to this, across the total angle to the center, and back up and back down. And if you look, there's a number 4 right over here. There's a 4 right over here. So automatically, this part is removed. So we only live 6 of 8 The 2 that are over here are the space that take up our life, 2 and 1. So you live 2, 4, 6, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and this is the hourglass of time, and this is how time was split up in these rotations. Everything had to work with 3. By bringing 2 and 2 together of 3, you create the 4 plus your divisions of your 90-degree angles, and that's how you make the space. We do know that if you take the Minnesota Viking wing of their suit, it turns into the Viking, it turns into an angel wing, it turns into a yin and a yang, it turns into, if you take it, you can wrap 2 of them around and actually wrap a baseball with it, because the angle of the wing that you see is because you can't see the rest of it. It's how your eye angles off to the ball, and it's what your eye sees, but you don't really think about it. That spaceship that went down, I'm looking at these numbers. Here's the 3, here's the 3, 3, 3, and 3. 3 on the outside, 11, and the 3 on the inside to run the sun. 3, 3, and 3. Take away 3, there's only 6 planets left over. I'm not sure if I did this yet. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 4 equals 5 because it takes 2 2s to make the 4. Inside the 5, 1, 3, and 5, as I showed you, 1 and 5 create 6. 2 and 4 is in between 3 and 5. Okay, but it's only between 1 and 5 that 2 and 4 exists. Excuse me. Yes. It's in between 1 and 5 that 2 and 4 exist, but they exist only in 3. So 2 really doesn't exist. 2 is actually only a half. So you have to go into 3. You go back this way 1. You take a half. You go this way 1. In fact, you take 3/4 of this way, and you take 3/4 of this way. Or you take 1/2 of this way, you take 1/2 of this way. Taking half of this leaves this at 0.5, leaves this at a 4, and leaves this at a 0.5. 0.5, 2.5, 3, 3.54, but this one in the center will now equal to 4. 5, 4, 5, 29, 29, 29, 29, 4, 5, 4. And remember, the 5 is +1 and -1 because that's what the Roman numerals, and it gives life to 4 and 4, the life of 5. 58 is the angel, and if you count 1, 10, 19, and 28, 28 and 19, 28 and 19, 28 and 10 equals 38, 19 and 1 equals to 20, the 20 world of the 28 days of the moon, 14 on one side, 14 on the other. The reality we live is the one we run now. It's only a matter of time before everybody sees the same way I speak. My words don't count. My vision is no good. I see a different world and I believe in something else. I see something greater, and I have tons of energy around me looking at these videos going, what's he talking about? So in reality, the whole thing is about, this is my story, the game I play, and the reality I live, and time to go back and do a little bit more paint. And the pork chops are coming. Do you know what I just noticed? I went and put in my little Cuisinart, yeah, I got one of those, seeds from the squash I was eating, and I put a little meringue in it, and trace minerals. It was great. It was better than drinking it. I was eating it. So instead of putting everything else into it, so I'm busy chopping up the seeds, and the seeds are only turning around. They didn't even chop one seed. It can chop everything but the seeds. I can make peanut butters, but I can't chop the shells. Thank you.